Hey, I was just trying to like start the broadcast like this so that the little thumbnail that comes up for this particular instance of Mornings with cBas would actually be uh, memorable and a little better looking. In this case, I managed to exactly screw that up. And now I can't see where I've put my fucking hairbrush. Oh, it's a Comedy Bears here, folks. I swear to God, the hairbrush was like right in my face a minute ago. Well, here we are. Have I ever explained why I love that as a thing to say at the beginning? For one thing, it's really easy to remember. Well, here we are. I mean, most people don't even recognize it as a thing I'm doing. They just sort of think it's, what you say at the beginning of a thing. In fact, well, here we are, and good morning to you, were the first words spoken on the Today Show in like 1951. When was it? January 14th, 1952. Sorry. I do know my Today Show history. Because, of course, back in the 80s, I was a page at NBC, bringing coffee to David Letterman and Johnny Carson. And I actually was Dave Garroway's intern back in 1952 on the original Today Show, back when Gene Shalit was just a mere afro on the speck of his father's bald head. Somehow I picture Gene Shalit's dad having a bald head and yet a little afro that would someday become full-size Gene Shalit. Do I seem like I'm in a wacky mood? Boy and how. I don't like how my skin looks still, but maybe it's just this camera is too high resolution. I don't know how regular people in television do it. But I've had a really trying week. I just felt like everybody was up my ass kind of all week long. But the good part about it is once I hit 7 a.m. on Thursday, I feel like most of my heavy lifting for my job is done for the week. Because I hit it really hard Monday, Tuesday, and then Wednesday I have like I think one class, and then Thursdays I have two. Early morning in China classes. My classes, my kids in China that I've become very attached to, like enormously attached to the point where I really like them, even though I love sleeping in. And frankly, it's not that much money, and frankly, they're real hard asses about the style. Like they don't like the way I do it. They've been sending me memo after memo, not memo after memo, but like yesterday was like yet another notification. This time I got it from like, what was his title? I just feel like I need to tell you his title. I'm not going to tell you his name, but I sent him a nasty ass memo back, and it's probably going to mean I actually told him I was probably going to quit because of the way this is going down. His title is Academic Operations Manager. So he's a pretty serious boss dude. And he wasn't mean about it really, but it's just like the third time I've heard this, and it's the third time I've said, look, your policy for what happens, your policy for what a teacher is supposed to do when the student is too fast for the class, right? When the student is so ahead of the game that he goes through the slides of the day in 5 minutes, right? I'm not going to show you the proprietary shit because I don't know if I'm allowed to like put that on the internet. I think that stuff's all copyrighted, but I can show you my bonus stuff that I create kind of on my own. And it's a little disorganized, but when you're paging through it, kind of you'll see how it works because I'm going to share it with you here, and you'll see. Maybe. I say maybe. Okay, I have to wait for it to actually open before I can screen share. Then I can go like this. No, it's still not freaking coming up. Why? Okay. It is up. Screen share. Application window. Your entire screen now. Well, fuck it. I'll share my entire screen. I don't give a shit. And then get rid of that. Now you're seeing this, right? Hopefully. Now this is just like some clip art that I've put together, but it's based on, and I'll actually like talk about this on camera for a second. The reason for this is The lesson of the week is all about he is in New York. He was in Canada yesterday, right? We're sort of building on these structures. He is in this, she is in this place. She was there at this time, she is there at this time. You know, frankly, the material is not that hard to, you know, get through really fast. Now, what their policy is, what they tell you to do, if your student gets through the 25-minute class in 5 minutes and you have to fill 20, it's great what they say, because it's very sort of a, just keep talking. You know, they don't just say that. They say, we'll ask them more questions and do the scaffolding and build more on it, but that is not acceptable. The reason that doesn't work, that's sort of the suggestion of administrators who have not taught the class or have not taught the material, because the students, in many cases, either lack the confidence or sort of are shy, or just lack the knowledge, right? They don't have the vocabulary to do just a face-to-face chit-chat conversation. That's why stuff like the electric company was so powerful, because putting text on the screen for the first time allows kids to read along with and sing along with what they're seeing on the screen, timed, and it matches up the words with the sounds, and it does it in a, you know, an entertaining way that is, again, my whole teaching philosophy is make them forget they're in school. You know, make it a game show, make it a kids show. And that's what I do. Now, here's the thing. Why is that bad? It wasn't bad according to the memo I got yesterday. The memo I got yesterday seemed to include your own extension techniques in filling in the time. Here's the problem. Twice now, these kind of monitors who are there in with you just to make sure, not that you're being censored, but they're there to make sure you're doing the right lesson the right day, because it's a very specific thing. These lessons on these days only. And if you go beyond that, what it is there's packages. Like if you're an English student in China, you can buy the level 1 package, 2 lessons a week, the level 3 package, 3 lessons a week, or the level 4, you know, deluxe package with 3 lessons a week plus the lingo lesson plus bonus stuff on the website plus Florida lingo, you know. So there's different levels of it. And when I'm getting through the material really fast, my go-to thing is to just go to the next set of slides in this book. But what I'm doing when I do that is giving away the deluxe material for free to people who haven't paid for the deluxe package. So I'm not mad about being like warned against doing that. Fine. I get that, and I don't want to do the wrong thing. I don't want to break the rules, but here's what's happening. When I do presentations, like I'm going to show you here, I get these people, you know, the people who can chat with me live during the class, like the monitors who are like, hey, you're doing the wrong lesson or something, send me messages like, hey, only do the official PowerPoint slides from Golden Voicing. Don't make up your own shit. That's where it's a problem, all right? Because I have nothing else. If I can't use the other Golden Voice stuff, if I can't use the other stuff inside the company, you know, if I can't basically give away the deluxe material, and I get that, then I'm going to make up my own extension material. And God save you if you try and tell me, just do Golden Voice, but don't go beyond the Golden Voice. Just talk more. Just talk to them more. I wrote one hell of an email back, and I'll read it back. Hi, thank you for your input. Frequently, the company materials, especially these particular lessons, are of inadequate and unacceptable length. This is a problem for you and for my students. Your policy regarding what to do in this situation is similarly deemed improper, untenable, and draconian. Furthermore, when I've previously identified this failure of the materials in the past, and this happens frequently, I go to extreme lengths the night before class to create a customized extension that will fill in the time, specifically from the lesson plans and directly from the materials of that day, right? So I'm not just making up a thing. You know, that's a lot of sort of imagination to have to come up with. You know, like I'm gonna have to come up with a thing about what, boarding airplanes or having coffee, or, you know, I've taught English a long time, so I kind of know my way around coming up with topics. But they wanted to be specific about that. I know that. I have lesson plans and I have a calendar and dates on which different things are being taught. So I know I can just look up the date. All right, they want to do, he is in Canada, he was in New York, she was in Toronto for this week. That's the topic, that's the material they're learning this week in the regular slides. So my extension slides can go beyond that. Take a look at my extension shit, okay? Here's my extension shit. Well, at least the one I've done most recently here. Oh my God, it's not gonna want me to do it, whatever. Okay, here. Can you see that, I hope? Yeah, okay. So this is, I just put for Canada. Now here's what I've done, right? She is Grumpy Cat, she is in France. All right, I just put the country map behind the animal. So, okay, there is one elephant. She is in China. There are two elephants. They are in Mexico. You know, this is all it is. Gary Gnu is in Australia. Okay, there are two giraffes. They are in the USA. There are two giraffes. They are in France. There are two giraffes. Here's the thing. It's just, he is in, they are in, she is in. And then like the past tense of this stuff, right? So they were, they are, they. She is Grumpy Cat. She is in Australia. It's not hard, right? But it takes a lot of work to sort of come up with the logistics of this, right? You can't just sort of. Now here's the thing: you can, if you're really, really good, and I am really this good, like you can kind of do an instant, do this on the fly. Pull up Google Images search, just do animals, and then have them sort of just dream up a company, dream up a country. Here's a tiger. Where's this tiger? He is in China. Okay. Where's this tiger? He is in Australia. Okay. You can kind of do it on the fly, but they detect that. The funny thing is the parents are there, kind of sitting right next to them, even though you don't see them. They're watching the lesson that their kids are taking. It's so kind of cool. I've actually heard sometimes cameras going off, like they're taking pictures of their kid with me on the screen on either their iPad or computer. And, it's really quite funny. I really like this job. But these managers were like, listen, only do this stuff. Only do it at this rate. If you run out of material, only extend it this way. Like, I can't do it. I can't do it. I don't get paid enough. I'm getting up at 4 in the goddamn morning, 4 days a week, suffering in enormous physical pain, by the way, when I'm sitting up, propped up like this, just because I feel like it's good to stretch it. It's good to make myself feel this pain, because it kind of, I think, alleviates future pain down the line. That's the idea behind doing exercise when you're not necessarily feeling up to it. But man, I just can't hang. And I've always had this problem with authority who just decides they're authority, even though they don't have the experience, even though they clearly exhibit boneheaded fucking ideas. And they just, oh no, well, here's what we're doing because I think this is why. I don't have reasons why, I just say so. I just fucking say so. I actually come out of my skin with I say so bullshit. Do as I say, not as I do. Please fuck you right in the ear with an ear of corn. Fucking you in an ear with an ear of corn. I find that very poetic. But just, have a logic behind it. Just give a reason. I swear to God, I'm a human being and I'm a subject to that same psychology I was talking about yesterday, whereas you just come up with a bullshit reason. As long as you say a reason, 9 times out of 10, humans are going to be like, all right, they're going to go along if they give a reason, even though it's a bad reason. They've done research. I've done that actual research, psychologically speaking. One of the fun things that happened today was that Edwin, one of my students, kind of gave me a little age shtick. He was calling me old, but it was cute because it went to the level of like, well, we're doing actually the lesson I was talking about, right? He is in New York. He was in Toronto yesterday. And then Edwin came up with, he will be in Toronto in the future. I'm like, oh my God, he's so good, right? Okay, we're doing present and past. Why not do the future? I'll give him a minute in the future. And then, so now it's like, oh, now he's 1,000 years old. Now he's 5,000 years old. And that he's kind of feeling his way through the numbers. 50,000 years old, 500,000 years old. And we're just kind of, how you do it with kids, where you kind of are, it's snowballing, right? The fun, it's getting wackier and crazier and funnier. But we're still in school. We're still teaching English. And he's doing his own kind of scaffolding at that point, right? Which is what they call, building structures in language, right? So he is in Tucson. He is in Tucson today. He was in Tucson yesterday. He will be in Tucson tomorrow. So it's all kind of the same elements, but working them up bit by bit, scaffolding. And he's doing his own scaffolding. He's coming up with new numbers, and yeah, it's at my expense. Teacher is 5 million years old. Okay, that's really great. But at the same time, he's like totally doing my job for me, and it's hilarious. And so I'm completely okay with the age thing. You call me as old as you want to, sweet thing, because A, you're not wrong, and B, it's hilarious, and C, you're doing my job for me. It's great. It's going to kill me if they fucking end up accepting my resignation, because what I said was kind of, I object to this management style as irrational and heavy-handed, and I believe I will be discontinuing my employment for this reason, despite my love for the students and the job. The point of me putting that in this letter was, listen, lay the fuck off me, goddammit. There's a lot of people in my life who are just fucking giving me a hard time just for the sake of evil, just because they want to punish people. They want to punish someone, and I'm the one they want to punish because I'm the one they're looking at right now in the room. I'm getting that a lot, and I'm getting real fucking sick of it. And this week I just kind of snapped and started telling people, fuck you, in very clear terms, kind of specifically designed to make bystanders and the recipient themselves go, whoa. Every so often, I have to hit the fucking ceiling, temper-wise, just to make sure people aren't fucking ignoring me. Because I feel like people just don't pay any attention. And so yeah, that's why I told my buddy Esther the other day, I would have paid a homeless guy $11 and a meatball sub to tattoo fucking yournewswire.net across his ass backwards. We could read it in the fucking mirror. I still like that turn of phrase. I think that's hilarious. And I'm not ashamed one iota about the sort of rage that it revealed about me, because he had that shit coming. And so when I get this thing, hey, listen, that lesson on Monday you did, where the student was too good and the material was too short, you did the wrong thing when the material was too short. I am just about fucking exploded. But I'm like, all right, you're trapping me. Only do these materials. Don't do beyond the material. Now, here's what I think is going to happen. They're going to say that dude who told me in class the other day, don't do your own extensions, was wrong. Because that's what the real issue here. There's real sort of weakness in the logic, is that's the part that didn't jive with all the other stuff. This one guy who's the monitor, he's just one of those people up my ass, just one of those people who wants to be in charge, one of those bosses who thinks they know best just because they're the boss, even though they've never actually taught. They really don't know a damn thing. They've been put in charge, and they feel a need to exert their dominion, to piss all over it and make sure their stink is all over it, so that they, and you see it in radio. I've seen it in radio for years. Boss comes in and just fires everybody because, he's kind of, in a way, it's to start clean or whatever. In a way, it's to kind of just foster loyalty, because when a new boss comes in, there's a lack of it. But I have a good time with these students. I cannot lie that even though I'm in enormous physical pain just sitting here talking to this camera right now, I'm high. I'm like on an emotional high, having just spent 25 minutes with Edwin, calling me old, right? It's what it is. And goddamn, I wouldn't trade it for anything. And it's going to be sad if I have to give it up because of my sort of little, unwillingness to take direction, which is how this will probably get painted, right? You're not taking our constructive criticism in the spirit in which it was intended, blah, blah, blah. Well, you know what? Your constructive criticism is up my ass in the wrong way at the wrong time today. And, you don't pay me enough. You really don't. I'm getting up at 4. I'm busting my ass doing all this extra work to make sure your materials, which are inadequate in the first place, don't run out. And to make sure that if they do run out, I don't violate the company policy by doing deluxe shit for free. But goddammit, don't you dare tell me my extension materials are not to be used. I'm just supposed to chat. That's what they're kind of, the wording, the cash value of their company lingo is just chat more. Ask them more questions. Ask them more things about it. Here's the thing. By the time I've gone through the lesson, and if they're that ahead of the game, I have done all of that too. Seriously. If the students are really that far ahead, I've asked them about their favorite colors and their favorite clothes and their favorite whatever the thing is. Which city would they like to visit? Sometimes they just sit there and look at you because they don't understand. Sometimes it's because they don't give a shit, you know. They don't have an opinion on whether they want to go to London or Toronto because they're 5 years old in Beijing. You know, like, let me extend it. I've gotten to know these kids. I know how these kids, you know, I know Edwin. 20 of the 25 minutes in class doing this. The whole time. I don't know if he had a pen or he had some kind of object, but he was hitting, I'm on his phone, right? I'm on his smartphone. He's like 5, 6 years old. I'm in his English class on his smartphone in his room. And he, just because he's kind of half bored, and I mean, I've figured him out. He's so smart, he's bored. And I got to keep challenging him. So I got to keep pushing it, but I can't go ahead of the calendar. I can't use any of the extra stuff. I got to completely come up with my own Edwin lessons. Or I get to face this for 20 minutes. Yes, and by the way, he's talking and answering questions and doing it the whole time while banging. Like, this is my student. And it's not, you know, it's not obnoxious. It's cute as hell. And it's my job to keep him engaged. And I like that job, you know? Like, it's hilarious. It's funny. It boosts my mood in ways that I totally never would have predicted. And in fact, if you had predicted it, I was absolutely sure I would never like teaching kids. I was absolutely sure that, you know, they would not like me. They adore me. And, you know, each of them in a different way. Like, some of them in a quiet, like, admiring way. Some of them are like, teacher, ha, you know. And then other ones, like the when they sent me, they told the managers of the company to send me a get well note when I took that week off to go to Seattle. So, like, they're enormously sweet. They're enormously funny. And it's okay that I don't get paid that much. And it's okay that I have to get up at 4 in the morning 4 days a week. But God damn it, let me fill the time my way. Well, here's the thing. I'm going off on that rant as though it matters now, because at this point, either what I wrote will make them back off or it will make them fire me. And I hate that, in a way, I hate that I'm kind of that guy. Because I am totally that guy. You know, I'm not proud of it. I know people look at me like that, and they think I kind of have my sort of, you know, making myself feel good at the time when I'm annihilating other people or setting my foot down, or, you know, telling people how it is or whatever, right? Well, as I said in the title of this broadcast, I'm going to take a 3-day weekend. From this, I mean. Not as if I broadcast here every day anyway. But this is when I've got the emotion right off the feet. This is when I'm high emotionally from the English classes in China. And because I'm dressed up for those, I look a little better on YouTube. But the truth is, when I'm doing it, it's a little harder to sit here propped up in these kind of yes, this is the best show I've ever done. Getting naked for y'all. So I don't know. Here's what I do know, and one of the things I need to talk about. I seriously was having a freak out just that second when you saw me smile, because I was thinking, oh my God, I have a doctor's appointment. Like, I totally have a doctor's appointment this morning, like 8:30 in the morning though, so it's an hour and a half away. This time this is a radiation oncologist. And looking at my calendar, I'm not going to share it with you necessarily, but I'm going to look at it because I've got stuff in the medical field today. I'm at the Mayo Clinic. So yeah, that's another reason I won't be here in the mornings. Tomorrow I'm on Sun Sounds, possibly for my last time before I move to Tempe. Tomorrow I'm applying for apartments as well as going to the Mayo Clinic in Tempe. Monday I'm going to have a port inserted. This is the surgery, if you remember the proceeding with the procedure update on Mornings with cBas. The day when I went into the hospital and then they aborted me at the last second because I had some kind of skin rash. Yeah, this is the redo of that, like a month and a half ago. And then there will be a nice little permanent hole into my cardiovascular system. And so yeah, anyway, I have a thing today, a thing tomorrow, all day, a thing Monday, a thing Tuesday, and then chemo Wednesday. I literally have medical shit this week. If you don't see me weak, please, by the way, message me up the yin and up the yang. Like, go ahead and message me, text me if you're a texter. If we do Facebook together, you know, I'm on that. I got the messenger fired up. If you're on Skype with me, I'm on Skype. You know, seriously message me. And by the way, be persistent, because sometimes when I'm in these medical facilities, I don't have good service. So, you know, if I haven't received a ding or I haven't heard a ding, go ahead and send a second ding. It's okay to be a little obnoxious at this time. If I can't answer, then, you know, I can't answer. So be patient, but be persistent, if you don't mind. Because I do like the people checking up on me, and I do appreciate the support. You know, I don't want you to think you're bothering me if you're texting me, even if I'm a little cross and irritated and like have my hands full sometimes, because that's the other thing is, yesterday I straight up had my hands full. It was just like phone calls are coming in, emails are coming in. I'm writing, you know, angry emails back. What else? Just, you know, it was just busy. And I'm just like, oh my God, you know, get away, stop, fucking stop. And there, you know, it's not that kind of thing where you want to or should say stop to, because it's important stuff that's happening and I'm getting stuff done. I'm being productive. So it's not like I wanted to slow down, but just sometimes I want to take my tungsten block and perform an Edwin, you know, right on the telephone. By the way, and I'll finish with this. It's about time to wrap it up anyway. But Edwin, one of the favorite things about Edwin that ever happened, Edwin is the one who, do you remember when I said my student dropped his phone? He always is using his phone to take the class. That's kind of, I think, the way he likes doing it, or his parents like it too. But he dropped his phone under his bed one day, right in the middle of class. Like 5 minutes into class, I hear clunk, 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 clunk. And then, like, all of a sudden the picture goes black. And all of a sudden, all I kind of see is, like, you know, this, like, trying to reach for the phone. And, you know, he finally, like, got the phone. It was like 10 minutes of this before he finally was able to put his hand on his phone, which had fallen behind his bed. I think his parent had to finally come and slide the bed out, you know. So I'm just sitting there going, what can I do? At this point, that's one day I'm sure I'm not going to run early for my English classes. You know what? I will open it up to you guys, because I know you guys know me. I know you know I have a temper, but I know you know I'm also pretty damn logical. And, like, give me a feedback. Give me a little idea here for these people who are up my ass on a job that pays very little and isn't very, you know, appealing in a lot of ways, but is appealing in others. Like, you know, I'm seriously busting my ass and getting told, you know, I'm doing it wrong. I'm doing all this great shit. I'm being told I'm doing it wrong, and I'm not upset about how I answered yesterday. They need to either pay attention to me and stop bothering me, or they need to fire me and stop bothering me. But, you know, the amount of money I get for them just isn't worth it, not for the aggravation. No, because, like, I really dig the kids. I just wish the kids could be up in the middle of the night for them, or we could do it in the morning for them when it's like, you know, what would it, if I'm teaching them at 4 in the morning and it's for them like 7 o'clock in the evening, 6, 7 p.m., then 12 hours after that would be like 6 or 7 a.m. for them. And then 12 hours, like, see, if I could teach them at 4 or 5 in the afternoon, 6, 7 in the evening time here, and be their morning English teacher, like reverse how it is now, you know, I would probably be a lot more amenable to their kind of up the ass management approach. I guess the word I used in the title is micromanaging, but I prefer the up the ass management approach because that's kind of how it feels. These people who just feel like, okay, I'm the boss. I say, I'm the decider. I say. And I mean, I know people are put in that position, but you should at least try to fake a justification, you know? Admit when your system, because here's the thing, systems have flaws, right? Organizations, systems, agencies, ways of doing things, there's almost always a flaw, right? There's almost always something that like a guy like me, who's like a drone, a worker bee, but like smarter than many of the managers there, like identifies instantly as a failure in the system or a failure in the process or a weakness that could be made so much stronger with minimal effort. No. We've done this 150 years this way. We're not changing. That's how it was in the language school when I used to work. We've done it 100 and something years. And like, okay, so you want me to teach English in the same way that you guys were teaching English in the year 1915? Really? You want me to teach English as though we didn't have light bulbs or internet? Even the materials we were using at the time had references to pagers and fax machines, because that's how old the English materials were. And it became a joke, right? Anybody remember fax machines? What's a pager, you know? And we got to jump off on my single favorite English teaching topic, technology then and now. I have enormous just resources. I can bring up pictures of cell phones or pagers from any year you want. I can talk about them. And students dig it. Like even the students who don't know technology or don't like technology still appreciate the pictures I bring up because you can see the phones getting bigger. You can see the phones getting again smaller at some point. I guess, I'm sorry, it's the reverse. They're getting smaller from the beginning of cell phones, they're big. They get smaller to a point, and then all of a sudden, when it becomes a smartphone, they're small and they start getting bigger again. And there's, you know, pictures of all of the technology you can see. It's a great topic, you know, because everybody's got a smartphone. Even the, you know, every student in my Latin American classes, for example, they're all professional adults, or you know, they're all adults. Some of them are like, you know, homemakers or whatever, but they all have smartphones, you know, and they love their smartphones. Some of them take their classes on their smartphone. At the company where I've worked 2 years, and sometimes they're at Starbucks, you know, with mariachi music in the background. It's a riot being an online English teacher. And for a person who has cancer, I think it's like hella perfect. Because, you know, I've done this one job now. God, it's going to be 2 years next month. In like a week, or 2 weeks, I guess. It'll be my 2-year anniversary with this online English outfit, Open English. And they've been good to me. You know, they have not done the unreasonable management thing that the newer company is doing. They have let, you know, they see a teacher who knows what they're doing and lets them kind of be. You know, like I said, I've worked there 2 years. I really know my way around teaching English. And, you know, I could tell you that I have really good scores and ratings for my students. I like to think that I kind of just exude that, you know. Like, I like to think that people believe I'm an awesome English teacher without me having to prove it. I totally could. I feel like that would make me look all insecure. So I'm not going to, like, go bringing up my report cards of my what is it, the feedback that the students give. But, you know, I get really good feedback. I get really good scores. And it's not an accident, you know. It's because I really am enjoying the challenge of explaining English, teaching English to adults who are already completely smart and educated and brilliant, just not in this language, you know. It's a unique set of educational things you're doing when you're teaching grown-ups who are already educated, you know, CEOs of companies. You don't talk down to them, you know. You can't do "how are you." I mean, to a certain degree you do, but you know, you kind of have to really thread a very fine, particular needle. And you know what? I've learned to do it, and I like it. And now that I'm teaching these kids, it's a very different experience. Another kind of needle being threaded. But, you know, when you're busting your ass and doing a lot of extra work, and, you know, I don't think it's unnecessary. That's the thing. It would be unnecessary if their materials were adequate, right? If their materials had plenty of shit for me to do for 25 minutes, 4 days a week, 25 minutes a day, 4 days a week, then, you know, I would tell them I would let them tell me what to do inside and out, from beginning to end, every second of the day. You conduct me. I will be a robot, you know. I will copy you like a monkey. But, you know, they kind of want you to have certain freedom, but then when you take certain license, it's like, oh no, don't do that. The students come here for our patented PowerPoint presentations. And I'm like, really? The one that's 6 pages long that was over in 3 minutes? Yeah, they come here for that? The ones who come here, the ones who don't pay for the deluxe package and don't want the extra, okay, I'm supposed to just chit chat, fill that in? I'm sorry, I know I'm now repeating myself. That's where I'm at though. And I'm kind of awaiting the response to my angry memo back. It's either going to be, okay, peace, or look, we're sorry, we don't want you to go. But you know, if it's look, we're sorry, we don't want you to go, then I'm gonna have a conversation about a particular guy who told me the wrong thing, and is the reason we're in this boat now. You know, and here's the thing: the guy in question is not a bad guy. He's not an idiot. He's just kind of a micromanager. And you know what? Like, I get, and you know what? And he's fine. You know, there are things he's corrected me about that I've needed correcting. You know, I'm not saying perfect. But on this thing, leave me the fuck alone. Just let me work, you know? Like, don't, you know, you're ruining it. And just let me be. If you just ease off a little bit, I'm sure we could all have a much better time. All right, blah, blah, blah. It is Thursday. Have a great Thursday. Make it a great Friday. What is up this weekend? Oh, yeah, I've got shit like, I've got enormous amounts of shit. I've got my radiation guy today. I've got Mayo Clinic tomorrow. I've got hospital Monday. I've got a crazy medical week. And the weird thing is, I think I'm going to try and keep updating here as much as possible, because this is where I think I'm deriving a lot of sanity. Just being able to talk about it in a place that people are listening, and yet I feel like nobody is. You know, I'm kind of, it's weird. This is paradox. And I don't want you, dear viewer, to think that nobody's listening. I say that, you know, and then I don't want you watching. That you're watching now is like fucking such a treat for me. You know, I never would have expected it, and thank you. But the thing about me feeling like no one is watching is what lets me kind of speak so freely. So even though it's a weird illusion, even though it's an illusion, I'm grateful for you to be here, for your being here. I'm grateful to still be here. And I'll have more updates. I might just update like live from my YouTube phone kind of a thing, either at the Mayo Clinic tomorrow or from the hospital on Monday. Try to make a good weekend, everybody. Hit me up as much as you can.